drawing of the works there at the sandstone quarry. You see many of the commercial buildings, the courthouse, a lot of NAU, my family's building, a lot of stuff built out of that hand-quarried Moenkopi sandstone. It was a big industry for a long time. They loaded it on trains and it went everywhere. It built the old Los Angeles County Courthouse, the Brown Palace Hotel in Denver, California Historical Society in San Francisco, and many other buildings. Okay, now we're into the other part of ranching. This, of course, is out by Baderville, across from the Snowball Road. And this is Fort Moroni. And the way that came to be, when the railroad was coming here, John Young and Brigham Young Jr., Brigham Young's kid, got a contract with the railroad to supply wood ties to build the railroad. So they came out there to Baderville, and this was their headquarters. It was later acquired by the Arizona Cattle Company and then by my family. But this is the Arizona Cattle Company. It's part of the old A1 Bar brand. This is my family now at the old loading chutes on Butler Avenue where SCA Paper Mill is by Home Club. And anyway, that's where they used to load and ship cattle. And that is my grandfather there, inspecting the cattle, going on to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe to Chicago. A little more ranching, bunch of brands, Peter Mickelbaugh, Hochdorfer. It was a big industry a long time ago. Also sheep, this is the same place at Fort Valley, across from Snowball Road. And the Daggs brothers, they were the big sheep people here in Flagstaff. Okay, a little bit of the merchants. This is the old Brannon store downtown, kind of the first commercial establishment in the new town after they moved down from Old Town. P.J. Brannon. That's us. That's us. And I guess if you could say something about my family, given this picture, is that at least we knew how to stack the groceries. This is a great picture given to me by Claudine Randazzo, maybe some of you know her, a descendant of the Bader family of Baderville. And this is right on LaRue Street. It's an art gallery now. But they had a wonderful little store, confectionery and bakery there. I just think it's a lovely place. Schweitzer Hardware, yep. Front Street. The Julius Herman store, which is now Mountain Oasis. The Herman family came in the late 1880s and have been here ever since. You all probably know Maury and Karen. The bank on LaRue Street, which is now the Stilley building. Tom Pollock, early wonderful banker from Iowa. And he built this wonderful little bank and later expanded it on LaRue Street and Aspen Avenue. And another great picture that I think has not been seen very often before of the interior of the Pollock Bank. And I love it because my desk looks 10 times worse. My family and the Reardons went together to start the First National Bank, which is now a PETA cafe. Again, I don't know how much progress we're making. That's the inside of the old First National Bank. A great kind of bird's eye view of Flagstaff. And I love it because, you know, everything is going full tilt. The sawmills are going full tilt. The little train is trying to get up the hill, and it just looks like full of activity. LaRue Street, the Weatherford Hotel. Birch Street. The house on the far right is still there, up at the end of Birch Street. You see the courthouse down midway. A series of wonderful old buildings that got torn down, and gosh knows how. It is now the National Bank of Arizona, downtown. The Pollock House up on LaRue Street, now the Inn at 410, built by an early lawyer here by the name of Elliott. Another house that still stands up on LaRue Street, the old Coffin House. The two Reardon houses. These guys always hung together way better than my family ever did. So this is Mike and Tim Reardon's house over, what's over there now? Walgreens, over there by Walgreens. These were their first houses before they built the common house known as the Reardon Mansion now. And this is a great picture of Mike Reardon's house called the White House over there. And it's the backyard. And you see looking up at the mill to the right there. And this is Minnie Shepherd and her daughter. And they worked with the Reardons for many, many years. And they're just posed in the backyard of the White House. My granduncle's house, my grandfather's house, in which my father was born at Beaver Street in Cherry, the old Presbyterian house down, or church downtown. I'm sorry, Methodist. This is Presbyterian. I often get my churches confused. Federated Church in the parsonage. Episcopal Church on Beaver Street early on. First Catholic Church in Flagstaff over on Butler Avenue. Called the Church of the Nativity because the first Mass was celebrated on Christmas of what year? I think 1888, I'm not sure. But long gone. I spent my first year in school at St. Anthony's Academy, a wonderful old place. It is now the parking lot of St. Mary's School. Emerson School, which is now our public library place. Flagstaff High School, which I spent my freshman and sophomore years at. And, you know, all this begins to beg the question, what happened? What did we do to all these wonderful buildings? Well, we tore them all down. So that's the parking lot of Flagstaff High School now. Courthouse, before it was added onto. The building to the right is the jail. It held every prisoner that Flagstaff could produce. First City Hall on Beaver Street, now a parking lot. That held the city offices, the police station, the fire station. Like I say, I'm not sure we're making any progress. We even at one time produced our own electric power over on Phoenix Avenue, and it was an ingenious way. We took the sawdust and wood refuse from the mill and burned it to create electricity. And then not only did we do that, you know, you hear all this chatter these days about this thing called sustainability. I've never met anybody who really could even define that word. But in this deal, they took the waste from the mill, made electricity, and the excess steam was piped into the downtown for heat for the buildings. Not too bad. One of the early newspapers, another one. The first hospital over at Milton, the Arizona Lumber and Timber Company, it was called Milton Hospital or Mercy Hospital. It was really Flagstaff's first hospital. And then, of course, the County Poor Farm, which still exists as the Arizona Historical Society Pioneer Museum. And, you know, I'm trying to tell a story here, so you go from hospitals and life cycles to the morgue. And this was the morgue downtown, right behind the Monte Vista Hotel. Also gone, long gone. Okay, snow in the winter. I had to throw that in. This is the house on Beaver Street and Dale Avenue. It's the Catholic Retreat Center. It was David Babbitt's house. The big winter in 1915 and 16 downtown. Same thing. Same thing, that's the Majestic Theater there, which has collapsed, west of the Weatherford Hotel, to be replaced by, of course, the Orpheum later.